Okay, question number 1 asks, what is economics?
Okay.
Option
So
A.
Yes, sir. Yes, so what is economics? I think we can just go direct to your solution, to your option, so that we save some time. We will not go through all of it.
For the answer that I had put was, it's a study of how people try to satisfy what appears to be seemingly unlimited and competing wants through the careful use of relatively scarce resources.
Okay, exactly. So that is economics. So economics is a study of how people try to satisfy what appears to be seemingly unlimited and the competing ones through the careful use of relatively scarce resources. So we need to disqualify the other options. And how do we disqualify? That is very necessary for learning purposes. We will not just start saying, no, the answer is A, the answer is B. That will force you now to memorize that, no, number 1, the answer is A. We need to discuss so that you understand why B is not an answer, why C is not an answer. Yeah, I think that is learning. Okay. So option number B says the economics is employment, is GDP, it is inflation, it is economic growth, and the distribution of income. Yeah, so that is not economics. Okay, of course, these are some of the concerns of economics, like, for example, economic growth, inflation, and what else? The concerns of macroeconomics would be they are economic growth, inflation, unemployment, not employment, unemployment, and the balance of payments. Those are the 4 key concerns of macroeconomics. But when you look at this, you see GDP it falls under economic growth. It's just one of the measures of economic growth. Employment, we don't do economic employment. Instead, we study unemployment, and that's our concern. So option B is not really the definition of economics. Okay. Option C, economics deals with behavior and decision making by small units such as individuals and the firms, right? Yeah, this is economics, but microeconomics. Okay, this is microeconomics, because microeconomics, this is the one that deals with the behavior and decision making by small economic units such as individuals, the firms, households, just like that. Yeah, so that's micro. But the question is not asking us to define what microeconomics is. So a rise in the general level of prices occurs. Workers need more money to pay. You can't define economics like that. So in a free market, question number 2, in a free market economy, the best function of the price mechanism is to, what is the best function of the price mechanism?
Best price mechanism is to ensure that consumer wants are satisfied.
Okay, so the pricing mechanism is used to ensure that consumer wants are satisfied. Oh, okay.
That's the answer that I put.
Okay, so ensure that the consumer wants are satisfied. Is it possible to satisfy the consumer wants?
No, it's not.
Okay. So anyways, so the price mechanism is used to provide the means of allocating resources. Okay. Yeah, the price mechanism, we use it for allocating the resources. Without price, it would be difficult to allocate the resources. But when we put it in price will help us how to distribute the scarce resources among unlimited ones. Is that fair?
Fair enough, sir.
Okay. Question number 3, increasing opportunity cost along about out PPF occurs because of what? Increasing opportunity costs along about out production possibility frontier PPF occurs because of what?
This one I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so some factors of productions are not equally suited to produce more both goods. So you will understand that some factors of production that you can employ, they cannot be used for both good Y and good X. You understand? They cannot be equally suited. The keyword is equally suited. Yeah. They can be used to some degree, but equally suited, whereby the contribution of this input is exactly equal to the contribution of the other. So because of lack of equality, especially because of the fact that some of the factors of production are not equally suited to produce both goods, that is to say, good X and Y, that is why we have the opportunity cost along about out PPF that occurs. That's why it occurs, okay, in short.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Fair enough, sir.
Okay, question number 4. Question number 4. Which of the following statement is true regarding? Which of the following statement is true regarding the supply of a particular good and that goods on price? And that of goods on price. Which statement is true?
Regarding the supply of a particular good and that good on price.
Yes. So it is regarding the supply of the good and its price, in short. The price of the good, yeah. Which one is true?
A price increase shifts the supply curve to the right.
That is your option?
I'm going through.
Oh, okay.
A price decrease shifts the supply curve to the right. No. So I'm not sure here. I can just look. The picture I have is the one that we were teaching us yesterday on demand.
Okay. So what's your answer? What's your option?
This one. My answer would be A, sir.
Okay. Anyways, it's okay. Yeah, so the answer is D. So a price change alone does not shift the supply curve. If you remember very well what was said under the difference between change in supply and change in quantity supplied, we stressed out some key points and said the supply curve will shift only when other factors other than price change. Okay, we said that when you hold the price constant, constant, price is not changing, then that is when the supply curve will shift to the right or to the left. Holding the price constant, then other factors affecting supply change, they are the ones that will affect, that will cause the supply curve shift either to the right or to the left, depending on the effect of that particular factor. we said that price does not cause a shift. Yes, but other factors are the ones that cause a what? A shift. Instead, we said that price, if it doesn't cause a shift, what does it do? We said it causes a movement along either the supply curve or the demand curve. So in this respect, you're talking about the supply curve. So the change in price, yes, we'll just change quantity. So let's say we have P1, we have quantity 1. Then when price changes to P2, supply is still constant. You see that even quantity will increase to what? To Q2, just like that, because of the positive relationship between supply and the quantity demanded. Is that okay?
Quantity supplied, sir.
Oh, quantity supplied, sorry. There is a positive relationship between quantity supplied and price. So the change in price just causes a movement along the supply curve from point A to point B. Like you're just moving along the same supply curve, not really the supply curve shifting. Is that okay?
Fair, sir.
Okay. Okay.
So, sir, the principle that applies on the demand curve is the same principle that applies on supply curve.
To the supply curve, yes. It is the same.
Okay.
The same things that we said, you can flip the page. Yeah. So the change in quantity demanded, change in demand, change in quantity supplied, change in supply. Basically, the principles are the same. So for change in supply, it is caused by other factors changing, and it is depicted by a shift in the entire supply curve. But a change in quantity supplied is caused by changes in price, holding other factors constant, ceteris paribus, and that is represented by the movement along the supply curve from point A to point B. Is that fair?
Fair enough, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it was very necessary for everyone to be in class because you cannot sometimes ask the recording. So it's very necessary that you ask all your questions instead of just depending on the recording.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Let's move on. Can we now make a supposition that milk and cookies are complements? So a technological innovation in the cookie industry has affected the equilibrium price of cookies. Which of the following can be said about the new equilibrium in the markets? What can be said?
These milk and cookies are complementary.
Yes, good. Maybe the starting point would be, what do you understand by a complementary?
What can I say? The goods that are consumed together.
Okay, yeah, the goods that are consumed at the same time. Right.
Okay,
so they move
yes.
in the same direction, right? When the demand or supply for this, when the supply for this increases, whatever affects the other good, then the other good is also affected, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So observe that there is a technological innovation that has affected the equilibrium price of cookies. So there is innovation. So what does innovation do to the supply of cookies?
It makes it efficient, and then it makes the industry produce more.
Yeah, so supply does what? Increases,
supply
right?
Increases, yes, sir.
Yes, so check. The increase in supply is depicted by a shift in the supply curve to the right. So at first the price was what? Was up, right?
Yes, sir.
But now that it has shifted to the right, then the price will do what? Will come down to P2, and the equilibrium quantity will increase, right? And the equilibrium point will also move down. That's it. That is in the supply of what? Of cookies. So you can see that now the price of cookies has come down because of the high supply of what? Of complements. So the question is that, what do you think, what can be said about the new equilibrium in the milk market? What will happen in the milk market?
In the milk market, it will be the same thing, sir.
It will be the same thing. No change will occur.
It will be the same thing. The supply of milk will also increase.
Okay. Yeah.
Or the demand of milk will increase.
We're not talking about demand.
Not
we're
demand,
about...
it will be supply, yes, sir.
Yes.
The supply will also increase because you said these are complementary goods.
They move together.
So whatever affects the one will affect the other. So if the price of the supply of cookies has increased, meaning even the supply of milk will also increase because they are complementary goods, sir.
Okay. So now the question is, what will happen to the equilibrium price?
It will shift to the equilibrium price will decrease, sir.
Yeah, so the equilibrium price will decrease, and you know the answer, right?
Okay, so equilibrium price will decrease.
So the equilibrium will decrease, and your answer is B. Okay. Which of the following best describe the characteristic of a public good? Okay. Public goods. Which of the following describes the characteristic of a public good? What is a public good, eh? What do you understand by a public good?
A public good, sir, is, I just know I can give an example. I don't know how to explain it, but a public good that it's a good that benefits all people. Let's say roads, for example, roads. Yes, sir.
Did we talk about this at some point from Friday? At some point?
Yes, you did. Yes, sir. That's what made me remember, because you used the practical example.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you know what a public good now. So which of the following is a characteristic of them?
Apa nchizungu chechenze chinavuta sapa. I didn't understand what the language they use.
Chinglish. Chinglish.
She got into English now, so.
Okay. Anyway, let me try to simplify the English on your behalf, because our duty is to choose for people the academic material and give them swab.
Yes, sir.
So now, when you say excludable, the word the excludable comes from the word exclude. Exclude.
Yes, sir.
To exclude is an opposite of include.
Include.
To include is to involve everyone. To exclude is not to involve everyone.
Everyone, yes, sir.
I've gotten that.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So when we say something is excludable, it's excludable, meaning it is possible to exclude some people, or it is possible to make others, to segregate. Yeah, let me use this one. It is possible to segregate others.
Okay.
Yes. So which one is an answer?
No, sir. You've been rivalrous. You haven't explained rivalrous.
Including even rivalrous.
Rivalrous, meaning coming from what? Rival, opponent.
When I was school, I like this because the way how we set exam, even if people know the exams, sometimes just the English itself.
The
You
English,
know that
yes.
it is the English that will silence everyone.
It's true, sir.
Yeah,
Guide
it
to
is
us
just
is a foreign tongue. So if you don't understand the words that have been used in English, even when you know the answer, you will get it wrong.
yeah. Even if you know the answer, usually you just tend to get it wrong because you 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 don't have a dictionary. You don't have a dictionary.
My dictionary was I lent it to someone. They haven't brought it back yet.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, let me mention it in this way. So actually from the context of economics, yeah, I to contextualize, because you know these words, they can mean a lot of things, just one, but each word has got its own meaning according to that field. So in economics, we contextualize now. In economics, it's a characteristic of a certain commodity, okay, of being in such a way that it can be consumed or used by only one person at a time.
Okay.
Did you get the context? I'm trying to contextualize now. So when you say the commodity is rivalry, so we mean it can only be consumed or it can only be used by only one person at a time. That's rivalry.
Oh.
When a good is rivalrous, it means it can only be used by only one person.
One person, okay?
Yes.
So
now what is the answer?
So meaning it's a non-excludable and a non-rivalrous.
Exactly. You already know this. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Was there because I was seeing excludable, so I was like, this should be excluding. Okay. Then the rivalrous, I knew to say it's coming from the word rival. Now for me to connect the two.
Rival, you thought it's like competition, right? So yes, from competition. So in the context of our field, yeah, when a good is rivalrous, meaning it's just for one person. Okay. Yeah, I just let me pass this short commercial break, so that now. Question number 7, gross income elasticity of demand for oranges has a negative value. From this information, we can conclude that. So this person's income elasticity of demand for oranges has a negative value. From this information, we can deduce that. What is the solution?
This one I did not even understand at all, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Let me explain so that you understand what is going on. So the concept that we are, the concept from which we are picking this question is from elasticity. Okay. Elasticity of demand. Remember, I said that demand is affected by some factors, right? That affect the quantity demand. Okay. So we say these factors, price, income, prices of other related goods, advertising, and the other factors. Now, so what is happening is that elasticity is just the measure of the percentage change, actually, in quantity demanded as a result of some change in some factor affecting quantity demanded.
Yes, sir.
The percentage change in quantity demanded, right? As a result of a change in some factor, observe that I've used this some factor affecting demand. I'm not being specific. So when that factor now, that some factor, when it is price, then you have what is called the price elasticity of demand. If it is the price of that commodity, you have price elasticity of demand. Then again, if that factor is income, you shall have what is called the income elasticity of demand, right? Yes, income elasticity of demand. And again, if that factor, it is the price of the related commodities or the price of the related goods, you have what is called the cross price elasticity of demand. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Cross price elasticity of demand. So this is where we're picking the concept. So now, when you're calculating, let me just dive straight to, by the way, there is one of the recordings that I shared with you that talks about elasticity, where there are even more calculations around elasticity. If you're interested in finding out more about that, you can still go through that. So about income elasticity of demand, what happens is that when you compute it, you find a coefficient. If your coefficient that you found, if your answer is negative, that communicates to you that the commodity under concern is an inferior commodity, all right? It's an inferior good.
Okay.
But if you find that your income elasticity of demand is positive, it means that what you have is a normal good, okay? It's a normal good. It's a normal good. What is an inferior good? Would you give us an example thereof?
I don't remember the definition of an inferior good.
Okay, contextualizing this, an inferior good is a commodity or a good where when the person's income increase, then the person reduce the consumption thereof.
Okay.
So as your income increases as a consumer, then you tend to reduce the consumption of that particular commodity. Then we say that commodity is assumed or perceived to be inferior to you. Okay.
Example, which ones?
Could you give us any practical example of such commodity? Those commodities that you don't eat, or if it is consuming, you don't consume them when you have money, or when you have just gotten paid at the end of the month. But as the month goes to Chiolo, you decide to start changing and consuming the same. Could you give us an example thereof?
Carpenter.
Carpenter, you get it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that commodity that you reduce the consumption thereof when your income increases. Then the normal goods, the consumption and price, the quantities move in the same direction. Move in the same direction. So you find that as your income increases, you increase even the consumption of that particular commodity when it is normal. It's a normal good.
Okay.
As your income increases, you increase the consumption of that same commodity. As your income reduces, you reduce the consumption of that. There is that same direction in terms of quantity, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have known what is going on. So with this person, the income elasticity was negative, which meant that this good was what? Was an inferior good, yeah?
Was an inferior good, yes, sir.
Yes, was an inferior good. So, which one is the solution then from what we have just explained?
So when price of grapes increases, Joe consumes more oranges. When the income increases, Joe consumes less oranges. The answer is B.
You already know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exams are made that easy. Question number 8, which of the following characteristics is not shared by the market structures of perfect competition and monopolistic competition? right? Which of the following? So in short, the question is testing your understanding of the market structures, okay? Understanding the characteristics of the market structures. So which of the structures is not being shared between perfect competition and monopolistic competition? Okay, so number one, there are a large number of buyers. In perfect competition, we have many buyers, right? That's what we said. And again, we said there are many sellers at the same time. And that is the same thing when it comes to monopolistic. There are many buyers, there are also many sellers, yes. Not monopoly, but monopolistic. Low barriers to entry. Yeah, in any of the two, there are low barriers to entry. Anyone can just come in and what? And enter, right?
Yes, sir.
Identical products. You see that under perfect competition, the products produced are homogeneous, or they are identical, if you may like. They are identical, right? Then when it comes to monopolistic, the products produced are differentiated goods. I think that's what we communicated last.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so under monopoly, perfect competition, the products are homogeneous or identical. It means the same. Identical or homogeneous. Homogeneous. Yeah, then with the monopolistic competition, the products are differentiated. Yes, they are differentiated. They are not super identical, meaning they're different a bit in terms of characteristics, you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Which of these could be considered a government-created barrier to entry? And again, this question again is testing your understanding of the market structures. Okay. So which of the following is a government-created barrier to entry, to market entry? What was your solution?
Government, usually it's on taxes, sir.
Okay. Progressive tax.
I think that's the answer that I put, was progressive income taxes.
Okay. How is that one a barrier to entry?
I didn't even understand. I just saw taxes here and
Okay, it is interesting. Anyways, so with progressive taxes, because these taxes, they increase as your income increases. So you would not really say
it's a government.
It's a barrier, because if you don't make a lot of money, obviously you won't pay a lot of tax as well. So it's worth it. As your income increases, then your tax will also be increasing. That's progressive tax. Anyways, the patents and copyrights, okay? The patents and the copyrights. It is only the government that gives patents. I'm sure you have heard of the Patents of Companies Registration Agency, PACRA, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The patents
and copyrights.
Yes.
Okay. No, I get it now.
Yes. The patents of companies and the registration agency, PACRA. Yes, the one that registers the companies and the businesses. It is a government organization giving authority and rights to the owners of the business. Yes, that's the only way how the government, the government will create patents. So the way how you create a patent is when, for example, you come up with a new product, then you go, if you have enough money, usually you pay a good amount of money to the government to say, okay, you government, I don't want anyone to enter and start producing the same thing that I'm producing. Please make me the only one to be producing this. Okay. Then the government issues what you call the patents and copyrights. to you, which means
Okay.
that you are the only one who will be doing that. For example, ZESCO. ZESCO has, many people are willing to enter into power providing and what, right? In the country.
Yes.
And they are capable. They are capable. People are capable with running that same businesses. There are many other companies that could have been running that. But where is the challenge? There are patents. So ZESCO has patents. You can't just enter the industry. It's protected by the government. And similar,
Okay.
this is one of the things that happened again to Zamtel, MTN, and who is this one? Airtel. Those guys also have patents. People, that's why they are no longer entering that market. You saw what happened to Vodafone. Were you there when Vodafone wanted to come in the market?
Yes, sir.
They tried to pump in money to the government, but since those guys had patents, it was not allowed to enter. No one can survive, in short. Yeah, so you have understood. Basa, you can proceed. We are understanding your explanation.
Okay.
And so the demand curve for a given good is upward sloping. True or false?
You've skipped one question, sir.
Oh, question 10. Most frequently occurs in industry that are, collusion where companies come together, right? Come together and agree. Okay, let's charge like this. Let's do it like that. Which market is that?
Oligopoly, sir.
Yeah, it is in the oligopoly market. Yeah, that's where you have that. Yeah.
Yes.
So the demand for a given good is upward sloping. Is that true or false?
What is a given good, sir?
Okay, so anyways, you remember I talked about the inferior goods and the normal goods, right? So
yes, sir.
These are determined in terms of the size now of the coefficient. So if you find that the coefficient is a very big negative number, I mean a big negative number, then if it's a big negative number, for example, negative 1.80, okay, that is now a given good. It's an inferior good. It's more than inferior, like super inferior. Okay. Even the levels of inferiority differs. So for super inferior goods, you find that the coefficient is a big negative number. And this is what happens. Then there is 0 here. There is 1 again, maybe 1.8 somewhere here, up to somewhere 2. Okay. So this side here we have when we have in the negatives here, we just have an inferior good. Okay, small coefficients. As the coefficients become big, it becomes a different good. This side you have a normal good. But again, as the positive sign becomes like the coefficient, as a coefficient, the positive coefficient increases, you get what is known as a Veblen good. A Veblen good, or a luxury good, if you may like. Yeah, like a luxury good. Yes, so that's how they fall in terms of the elasticities. These things are clearly nailed in that recording for the elasticities. Is that clear?
Clear.
So the demand curve for a given good is upward sloping, and the answer is true. Okay.
Upward sloping, meaning it's doing what? It's
heading upward like this. The demand curve is like this. It's not downward sloping like this one. So which is almost the opposite of what we learn under normal goods. We learn that for normal goods, the demand curve is downward sloping. When you increase the price, right? When you increase the price, also the quantity does what? It reduces, right? For normal goods. But for this is the opposite thing. That's why you get that. Okay. In the short run, total variable costs. In the short run, total variable cost always increase as output increases. Is that true or false? I talked about variable costs. Is it 3 days ago? Yeah. The variable cost increases as output increases, or as unit increases. As we increase production, the variable cost increase. Is that true? All right. So we say that that is true because only the fixed costs remain constant. With the fixed costs, they do what? They remain constant. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
It is possible on number 13 for a firm to experience diminishing marginal returns in the long run. It is possible for a firm to experience diminishing marginal returns in the long run. No, it's false. It's not possible for a firm to experience diminishing marginal returns in the long run. Why? Because in the long run, all variables are variable, okay? The variables, all the inputs are variable in the long run. So they can change and increase our return. It's not like in the short run where, yes, the diminishing marginal returns is only experienced in the what? In the short run, where some variables are fixed. Clear?
Clear, sir. Okay.
And so monopolistically competitive firm does not produce at its minimum average total cost in the long run. It is true. That is true. Remember, I think we had these similar questions before you went into an exam. Like this one, it came as well. In those multiple choices that we are given, remember them, right? We had a question like this. Anyway, in the long run, the monopolistic competitive firms do not produce, they don't produce at the minimum HTC. Yeah, that is what it says. Okay. Can we suppose that the demand curve, demand and supply equations for calculators is given as follows? We make an expectation that demand for calculators is given, demand and supply for calculators is given as that. So price is equal to 200 minus Q. Then the other one, that is for demand. Then the other one, price is equal to 50 plus 1 over 2Q. Right? Is this 1 over 2? Yeah, 1 over 2Q. 1 over 2Q. Okay. Question is find the equilibrium price, and find the equilibrium quantity. So we know that at equilibrium, we said that quantity demanded is equal to what? Quantity supplied, isn't it?
Quantity supplied, yes, sir.
Yes. Or at the same time, the prices are just equal, right? The price for demand and the price for supply is just the same. So you can equate the two prices where P is equal to P. You equate the two equations and start solving. So you have 200 minus Q equal to 50 minus C, plus half what? Half Q, right? Then we make Q the subject of the formula. We make Q the subject of the formula. We are solving for Q now. We are starting by solving for Q. We can have 200 minus 50 equal to what? 1 over Q, 1 over 2Q plus Q, right? We have collected the like terms. This Q, it was negative. It goes to the other side of the equation, it becomes positive, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And this 50 was the positive, when it goes to the other side, it becomes negative. And so we are solving for P. 200 minus 50 is 150. That should be equal to half plus 1, because this is 1Q. So half plus 1Q. This is 0.5 in short. 0.5 plus 1 is 3.5, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, half is 0.5. So this is 3, no, it's 1.5. 1 plus half. Half plus 1 is 1.5 Q. Then we divide through by what? By 1.5, right?
It will be, yes, I see 1.5 Q. So, okay, minus 50 is equals to 1.5 Q. So we divide both sides by 1.5.
Yes. What do you get?
100 minus 50 is equals to 150 there. Then answer divided by 1.5. Getting 100, sir.
Okay. So 150 divided by 1.5 is 100.
Yes, sir.
So Q is what? It's 100, right? This is the equilibrium what? Quantity, isn't it? That's the equilibrium quantity. Then the equilibrium price, you just get this quantity and substitute in any of the two equations, right? Okay. Get the quantity and substitute in any of the two equations, any of the two equations. Price you can get for demand, the answer is still the same. For demand is 2Q, 200 minus Q, which will be 200 minus what? Minus 100, and price is equal to what? 100, yeah?
100, sir.
Yes, it's 100.
Okay.
You're following, eh? It's the same.
Yes, sir.
If you want to get for this one for supply, it will be 50 plus half full times Q, which is 100. So 2 into 100, 50, 50 plus 50 again, it's 100. So it's the same. So equilibrium price as well is 100. Clear?
Okay. Clear, sir.
Exams made easy.
Mm-hmm.
A curve indicating the quantities that buyers are willing to purchase at various prices is known as, what do you call that curve? The curve that shows the quantities that buyers are willing to buy at a various price. It is known as
demand curve, sir.
A curve indicating the quantities that buyers are willing to buy. Yes, it's a demand curve. Unless suppliers, right? Or sellers. Yes, demand curve. You notice that the price of gasoline goes up, right? People buy less gasoline. When the price goes up, then people buy less of that, right? Assuming that nothing else has changed. This would be described by economists as a change in what? Is it going to be change in quantity demanded or change in demand?
Assuming that price remains constant.
No, assuming, notice that the price of gasoline goes up, then the people reduce the quantity, right? Meaning the price is the only one that has changed in here. Then you assume that other factors are constant. That's what they say. Assuming that nothing else has changed. What do you call that?
It's change in quantity demanded, sir.
Yes, that is change in quantity demanded, right?
Yes, sir.
Exams made easy now, right? Okay. The surplus and shortages are both examples of what? When you have too much supply, that's a surplus. And the shortage is when you have surplus. Yeah, it's when you have too much demand. Then when you have shortage, it means you have low supply.
No supply, yes.
Surplus is when you have too much supply. Low demand, right? There is low demand, too much supply, right? Supply is exceeding demand. Then shortage is the opposite. Demand is exceeding supply. That is an example of what? Okay, that is an example of disequilibrium, okay? Disequilibrium. Disequilibrium, because at equilibrium, at equilibrium, all these things are equal, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. A 10% increase in input leads to 20% increase in output. That is known as, what returns to scale is that? Dash returns to scale. What returns to that? There are 3 returns to scale that we discussed: constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. Which one is which?
This one will be constant.
Okay, it is the increasing returns to scale. So with increasing returns to scale is when you increase the input by lesser percent, but the output increases by more than the increase in input. Right? You just increased your input by 10%, then the output increased by 20%. So that is an example of an increasing returns to scale. Okay?
Okay, sir.
The period of production in which at least one factor of production is fixed is known as the period of production in which at least one factor is fixed. What do you call that period of production? Just say that, is it yesterday or today actually?
In which
one factor of production is fixed.
One factor of production is fixed.
What do you call that period? Anyway, it is called the short run, okay?
Oh.
I say that the short run is just a period in which at least one factor of production is what? Or one variable is fixed. Then long run is when all variables are variable, right? Are changing. Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. The law of demand is states that. What does the law of demand? I think every day I sing about the law of demand. What does it state? The law of demand.
There's an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded.
Okay, you already know that. So what is income elasticity of demand? So I just defined it. You remember today when we were talking about income elasticity. Anyway, this is basically the percentage change in quantity demanded as a result of the percentage change in income. Okay. The percentage change in quantity demanded, percentage change in quantity demanded as a result of percentage change in what? In income. Just that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The third degree pricing is what is third degree pricing?
This one I've forgotten, sir.
Let's skip it. I'll end with it. An industry with only two competitors is known as. What do you call that market? What do you call that industry where there are just only two competitors? What is it called?
I've forgotten this one also.
Anyway, it comes from oligopoly, but to be specific, it is called duopoly. Duopoly.
Oh, duopoly.
Yeah, duopoly too.
So that's why
on it.
That's why maybe I must have gotten it wrong. I wrote oligopoly.
It's a duopoly, but you're not sure whether you got it wrong. Anyway, yeah, it's duopoly. Duopoly. Okay, let me end with the last one. The third degree pricing discrimination. Yeah, the third degree pricing discrimination. It is when, okay, the firm charges different prices to different groups of people for the same commodity, same quality. Okay, that is third degree. With the first degree price discrimination is when the firm gets all the consumer surplus. Okay, the firm gets all the consumer surplus from the buyer. How does it get all the consumer surplus? Like a firm gets whatever the consumer is willing to do what? To supply. Like that's the consumer supply.
Okay.
Yes. So getting all the consumer surplus, it simply signifies you ask, this is where the firms ask, they want the buyer to pay everything that they are willing to pay. You know, they'll
Okay.
ask the person to pay everything that they are willing to pay. They charge what someone is willing to pay. Yeah. At that point, someone to make sure that you are getting all the surplus that they could have retained. So the way how we charge with this one, you tell them, people, I'm sure you've heard such kind of selling. Yeah. Whereby somebody just asks you and says, you know what? This thing that I'm holding, before they tell you how much, this thing that I'm holding, if you go to ShopRite, you will get that. If you go this side, you'll get like they just don't have. Ask you, so yourself now, what do you think would be the fair value of this thing? How much can you get it? You understand? Huh? So you're locked up, then you just end up mentioning yourself, you get, and you finish that. That's first degree of price discrimination. But with the second degree of price discrimination, this is when you charge different prices to people who buy different quantities of the commodity.
Okay.
The more you buy, the lesser you pay. You know those goods about purchasing. That's the second. So for the third degree, you charge different prices to different groups of people. Maybe you buy the more young one, the small ones will be paying this much. The big ones should be paying this much. No, women should be paying this much. You know, that's kind of like you charge different. Women pay less, maybe. The elite ones should be paying less. The big ones should be like such kind of pricing. You know, that's third degree. That's price discrimination.